Good morning and happy Christmas season! Alex and I spent the day literally at home. We tend to spend the day having Christmas movies in the background or foreground, depending. But Christmas movies basically playing 24/7, eat yummy foods, play games, or I usually chill on my phone while Alex plays with his new Legos, which he inevitably gets. But we like to spend our days pretty lazy. So if you're like me, I hope you had a lovely, lazy, carefree Christmas, and I just hope it was filled with lots of love and laughter. Today, we are going to talk about the 6 events that happen in the Christmas season here in Mexico, because as you know, I find it pretty fascinating, and I think it's neat how long the celebrations last and the different reasons for the celebrations. One of the negatives that happens during the Christmas season is we tend to compare a lot. We tend to see what other people are doing or what other people get or where other people go, and we kind of have this like fear of missing out, this fear of wanting to do everything. And just know, just because you're in Mexico does not mean you have to participate in any of these things. I want you to celebrate Christmas and just live your life the way you want to. But either way, here in Mexico, there are 6 different events that really encompasses the full Christmas season. And the first one we've already talked about, the pilgrimage to Our Lady Guadalupe. Which technically occurs from the 1st to the 12th of December, but in cities that do not have an Iglesia de Guadalupe, you're not going to see this as much. And so people celebrated on the 12th of December, usually with a great party, but they don't necessarily pilgrimage, and you don't see it because you don't have the Iglesia. You will only see the actual pilgrimage in special locations throughout Mexico that has an Iglesia to pilgrimage to. The largest one in Mexico is of course the one in Mexico City, but here in San Cristobal, I was really impressed by the number of people that came here. And so from the 1st to the 12th of December, but especially on the 12th of December, which is the actual Dia de Guadalupe, you're going to see parties, you're going to see carnivals, you're going to see celebration of the Virgin Mary. Then you get about a 4-day break before the Posadas start. So the Posadas are celebrated from the 16th to the 24th of December. And Posada really just means like an inn or a hotel. Supposedly the 9 days it took for Mary and Joseph to travel from Nazareth back to Bethlehem, and of course they were going to Bethlehem because of a census that was occurring, and you had to physically be in the place that you considered home. And for Joseph and Mary, that place was Bethlehem. The Posadas, or the inns, represents how a lot of the inns, because they really had no money, wouldn't take them in, right? They would go to these inns, they would say, hey, do you have a place for me and my wife to stay, especially because she's about to give birth? And all of these inns were like, yeah, no, sorry, we do not have room for you. And so Joseph and Mary had to continue. Somebody offered their manger to them, and they were able to stay there and of course eventually have the baby Jesus. During these 9 days, a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels have posada parties as well, I'm sure, in people's actual homes, where they tell the story. They tell the story of Joseph and Mary traveling. There's also a song that they sing during this time, a song or like a poem where one group of people pretend to be Joseph and Mary, the other group tends to be the inns, most of which say that they do not have room. Many families have posada celebrations all 9 days, each day usually in a different home, a different hotel, and each day apparently representing a different kind of theme, which is very cool. Alex and I had a friend invite us to a hotel near a water park in Tuxtla Gutierrez, so we were able to celebrate the posada there, which was pretty cool. Again, we had the piñata representing the 7 deadly sins, the stick of virtue and truth, taking down those sins, and then being rewarded with yummy candy and treats. We had the storytelling of the reason for the posada.
¿De dónde nos visitan? A ver, ¿de dónde nos visitan?
And of course, it was next to an amazing water park, which I do recommend. Link below for details. Alex, we cannot use this entrance, but we're going to use their main entrance. Slowest slide ever, Alex. And it was my first time officially celebrating a posada, and yeah, we love it. Hopefully more to come. And of course, the 9 days of these posadas culminates on the 24th of December, where people celebrate until midnight. And at midnight, baby Jesus or Santa visits your family and leaves gifts and treats. Now in the US, traditionally, we have always celebrated the opening of presents on Christmas Day, meaning we sleep all night, we wake up in the morning, and then we open our presents. 2 years ago when we were in Merida, I was like, yeah, let's do it their way. Let's just stay up all night and open at midnight and see how that works. And we absolutely hated it, but we hated it because one, I mean, it's late and I'm tired, but two, because per US kind of traditions, Alex already knew he had presents. He'd already seen most of his presents, and so waiting till midnight to open them felt very forced. It felt very painful for him. I was exhausted, he was exhausted, like it was a whole thing. The thing I didn't realize at the time is local children, while they might have a Christmas tree and of course they know they're getting presents, they don't actually see the presents until baby Jesus or Santa actually leaves them. So they're up all night having a party, eating, playing, doing all the things. And so I imagine they must be distracted doing other things when mom and dad, whoever, surprises them with the gifts. And so it's not a situation where they know, okay, I'm seeing the gifts that I'm going to open. It's more, they know gifts are coming and they're waiting till 12 for the gifts to arrive. The gifts aren't already here, they arrive at 12. And so there's a level of anticipation and excitement for what will happen, what will I get, which is not what Alex and I were doing. And so of course the 25th ends up being a day of rest, a day of relaxing from all the partying that happened pretty much every single day in December. I'll note that here in San Cris, Christmas Eve as well as Christmas, a lot of restaurants were actually open. We did go out to eat Christmas Eve, which is something we used to do in the US. What are you smiling about?
I thought it was a funny song about spaghetti.
You gonna sing it?
Not exactly childhood.
But on Christmas Day, we hunkered down, so I didn't actually go anywhere. I just know that a lot of restaurants were also letting people know that they're open on the 25th if they wanted to be there. Again, the majority of the time. So here in San Cris, we're a 365 kind of place. It's probably related to the fact that it's a Pueblo Magico, it's a tourist attraction. People come here from around the world, and so the conveniences tend to be open. And on December 28th, which is Dia de los Santos Inocentes, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's the Day of Innocence or the Day of Innocent Saints. It's also known as the Mexican April Fool's Day, where people tend to play a lot of pranks on each other. I'm not 100% sure why, but the reason for the day officially is to commemorate when King Herod decided to kill all the male babies in an attempt to kill Jesus. But of course we know that didn't ultimately come to pass, but either way, he did unfortunately kill a lot of innocent little baby boys. And so on this day, there's a special mass visiting cemeteries and honoring especially past children. As with the US, Mexico also rings in the new year on New Year's Eve with a party just as you would in the US, except in the US, when we are fighting to stay awake till midnight, in Mexico, it's not really that big of a deal. But unlike the US, where the new year generally rings in the ending of the holiday season, not so much here in Mexico. On January 6th, they celebrate Three Kings Day, which of course is representing the day the three kings followed the Star of Bethlehem to where Joseph and Mary were, and they left the gifts. This is actually the day where traditionally Mexicans would give gifts to their children, but of course, as the world becomes more and more international, it is much more customary for local children to receive both a Christmas gift as well as a Three Kings Day gift. But the other thing that happens on Three Kings Day is of course a party, and a party where you will have the Three Kings cake. And aside from being a pretty yummy cake, what a lucky winner is going to find inside this cake is of course a plastic figurine of the baby Jesus. And so this signifies of course that the three kings came to Bethlehem and eventually found baby Jesus. So literally somebody will find the baby Jesus inside their cake, and your reward for finding baby Jesus on February 2nd, you get to celebrate Candlemas or La Candelaria, which is where the person who found the baby Jesus has the honor of bringing tamales to the party so that we can officially close out the holiday season with another party. While I wouldn't consider myself like a huge party person, I love that unlike the US, where yes, during Christmas we definitely celebrate for the right reasons and we talk about the story of Jesus and everything that goes with it, we don't necessarily live it, meaning everything gets told on Christmas Eve, maybe on Christmas Day, and then the moment's kind of over. Here in Mexico, it's really cool because not only do you have, of course, multiple actual parties, but at each party, there's a different part of the story you can tell. And so it's a much more enriching environment. Each day you talk about a different aspect of the story, a different event. From a Christian viewpoint, it's just a deeper dive into the season and pretty neat to experience. Those are the 6 events that are celebrated throughout the Christmas season. I can tell you right now that it can definitely get overwhelming, especially during December, but it's ultimately well worth it.
Peppa the Pig, the Grinch.
That's the most horrifying Peppa the Pig I've ever seen.
And of course, they're always here. And I love you.
Pues ya viste que el proceso.
Pues eso, hacerse a un lado de las fiestas y de los amiguitos, pero bueno. Pública de otras. Entre ellos los más deliciosos de comida, las mejores salidas de San Cristobal.
Look at that.
¿El elote?